Parents, students, and those who live within Carrollton Farmers Branch Independent School District, we are not happy. We have to face our reality and we have to close some schools. Our enrollment numbers are down and we simply cannot afford to continue having all of these campuses when they are not full. I don't think anyone who's involved in this process is happy, but I do think there are a lot of questions that need to be answered. So let's go over all of these numbers and facts about the school closings here in CFB. Here's some facts to know about these schools and questions we need to ask. Central Elementary, it ranks 19th out of 24 elementary schools here in our district. Those students will be going to McLaughlin, Strickland, and Carrollton. These are their enrollments of 682 and 515. Let's talk about Furneaux Elementary. That ranks 20th out of 24 elementary schools. It has a current enrollment of 425. The two schools that those students will be going to will be Davis and Thompson. One has 518 and the other has 416 in attendance. Now let's go to McCoy Elementary. Now McCoy Elementary is the most controversial right now. You see, it's number one out of all the elementary schools within our district. Now these students will face anywhere from 3 to 4 schools if you are in the LEAP program. The LEAP program is actually going all the way to Irving. That's on the other side of 35. It's on the west side. The majority of all students that are enrolled within our district live on the east side of 35. I mean, we're talking 70 and over %. Let's ask questions while offering some positive suggestions. Let's look at all of the schools within CFBISD, specifically Rainwater Elementary. Now, Rainwater ranks 10th in CFBISD, and the total enrollment there is only 336. That's the lowest enrollment in the entire district, and it's also close to McCoy. We know that the building that Rainwater is in is a lot newer than the one that McCoy's in. It would cost a lot more money to repair and update McCoy. Now here's a current elementary school map of Carrollton Farmers Branch ISD. Now I have McCoy here, and McCoy we have on the map is the hot pink star. Of course, Rainwater is the yellow happy face, and X marks the spot for Landry. And Landry is the school that the district is suggesting that we move the LEAP program to. Now, once we move the LEAP program to Landry Elementary, that means DeWitt Perry will not be receiving that program. That means that it would be going to Bush Middle School. Now, these are huge changes, and they are changes that are necessary. However, disrupting the lives and the education of the kids and putting it to an area that is not as accessible to the majority of the district may be something that we want to look twice at. Now, let's look at our middle school, Dan F. Long Middle. The total enrollment is 626. It ranks 6 out of 6, so it's placing last of the middle schools within CFB. The 2 feeder schools will be Blaylock Middle and Polk Middle. Now, there is a huge concern. Transportation. Polk and Blaylock are not just a sprint away for these kids if they happen to miss the bus. And before you start saying that these kids shouldn't miss the bus, the kids in that vicinity of 75287 zip code have many disadvantages. Many of these children have to wake up their younger siblings and get them ready for school, while others don't have the advantage of having parents waking them up and feeding them breakfast and getting them off to school. I would just like to know that also there's a way for them and their families to participate in extracurricular activities with these campuses. So what do you do with this information? Well, you're going to ask questions at the school board meetings. You're going to ask questions at the meetings that they're having set up throughout the district for parents and students who are involved in these schools that are talked about being closed. Now, there has been no vote on this, so you still have a chance to go in there and say, I don't think it's good that we close the school. I've seen the numbers for enrollment and I would like to have a little bit more information. You can go in there and say, I don't think LEAP being put in Irving is the best idea. It makes it inaccessible for the majority of all the students within our district. You can do these things. These are what the meeting's for. The district wants you to get involved. They want you to be active and they want you to ask questions. Now, for those of you who did not watch the school board meeting, the last one where they discussed this, here is a quick summary for you.
We have an active, working, great bunch of board members. And Ms. Garza Rojas and the work that the advocacy group is doing, good stuff. And we need, as she said, all of you to get involved with us. We look forward to that.
Tonight, I'll be presenting the facilities planning recommendations for the board to consider. As we begin, I want to say that discussions like this are never easy. When I first became acquainted with CFB over 20 years ago, it was evident that there was a strong sense of family here. Since I came on board, I have come to believe that the sense of family here is even stronger now. As every family knows, sometimes hard conversations are needed, and this is one of those times. You might ask, why is having extra capacity an issue? In a word, it's expensive. The two schools here are both less than 25 years old, built only 6 years apart, and have similar floor plans. We spend 30% more per student on the campus with lower utilization. Our goal is to maximize our investment for every student. To do that, we need to address this kind of imbalance. Here are the recommendations presented to the board in June of 2024 being considered now. Consolidate 3 elementary schools, add 1 new pre-K, and consolidate 1 middle school.
We would also like to inform you of our inform our community about our family information sessions that are scheduled here next week. You can see these information sessions are geared towards these following communities. The Long Middle School community, you'll have an opportunity on February the 10th from 6 to 7 p.m. to have your session at Creekview High School in the auditorium. The McCoy Elementary community will have an opportunity on February 13th from 6 to 7 p.m. at Newman Smith High School in the auditorium. The Central Elementary community will have an opportunity on February the 18th, 6 to 7 p.m. at Turner High School auditorium. And then our Furneaux Elementary community will be able to have their opportunity on February the 20th, 6 to 7 p.m. at the Creekview High School auditorium.
Have been presented. The official board vote will be on March 6th.
Students going forward, we want the best for all. Board members, are there any questions that you have?
Regarding the presentation?
Yeah.
I would like to start by clarifying, for the TAPER report, the academic rate is better, increased performance, all campuses have met, safety and security, and trained personnel. Saying that, every one of these campuses that are listed for consolidation have met those requirements.
Yeah,
and it's mentioned
that
here.
That was not a primary factor in this evaluation. Space utilization, cost, a whole number, and they pointed out all the different factors that were involved in that. And then these are the recommendations. They are simply, at this point, recommendations, and they have been given to us as a board to study with extensive background material, and we will be studying it over the next month prior to the vote to approve or to move forward with this process at the next meeting. No doubt, we could probably make an argument for every campus that's out there, but the district will be underwater and bankrupt in years forward unless we do something this year. And as a board member, I don't want to leave my legacy at CFB failure. So.
Can I ask another question? Or would you not, you don't want to discuss it?
Well, it's for discussion, yes. What?
Well, I know that the proposed savings is $9 million, but the campuses are all going to be utilized for something else, and we're keeping all of our staff. So I want to better understand the savings. Now, I know that that it has been mentioned that it will be used for overflow and for construction purposes. And I'm sure those are all bond construction items.
Yeah.
So is there income from the bond to utilize our facilities since they are going to possibly be closed?
Ms. Benavides, I think Mr. Blackburn can address that as far as utilizing our campuses for construction, for example, at R.L. Turner. Do you want to address that, Mr. Blackburn, about portables and swing space?
Yes, I can speak to that. For example, at R.L. Turner, if we were not to use a facility that we're repurposing, we would have to spend the money on portables. In R.L. Turner in particular, that would be between $2.5 to $3 million. We would have to build a new fire lane, a permanent fire lane. We'd have to move a fire hydrant. And the parking situation at R.L. Turner is already requiring a waiver from the city. And if there's ever an event, it's really a challenge. So that should enable us to save, to basically to invest more of our bond dollars towards building the building that will benefit the students instead of having to pay for temporary portables.
So then bond funds would be used to rent these facilities so that we don't have that expense? Because if we're trying to cut costs, using them still creates cost or expense for us.
We would not be renting. There are some campuses where we'll end up having to get portables, but this lowers the number of campuses where we'll have to spend the money on portables. But it's just an expense that's sometimes unavoidable, but in this case, it appears that we might be able to avoid spending that money in a couple of campuses.
Good evening, committee members. My name is Krish, and I am a third grader at McCoy. I love my school. Before the sun even rises, it's dark and cold outside, but I wake up excited to go there. My sister, who is in high school now, also went there, and I was so happy when my chance came. I love my classmates. I've known them for a good part of my life. After my house, this is where I've spent most of my life learning, growing, and making friends who feel like family. We play games together at recess, and I feel happy because everyone is included and there are no bullies here. I feel safe. My teachers make learning so much fun. They inspire me to do things like reflections, art contests, and World Cup challenges. I also ran for student council this year. Since McCoy is small, I know all the teachers, not just those in my grade. This gives me something to look forward to as I move up each year. One time, I painted a picture of a rocket ship, and my teacher said it was out of this world. That made me feel really proud. I love McCoy and especially LEAP as it's my favorite part because it's a place where I can be myself, and explore new things, and dream big. Thank you for listening and for helping us keep McCoy the magical place it is.
Okay, so what do we do from here? Now, I'm letting you know that the school district is not going to discourage you for voicing your opinion. They're not going to discourage you from asking questions. They're not going to discourage you because they anticipated this. They knew this was going to be hard. They knew there was going to be a lot of feelings in this. They knew they were going to get pushback. And same with the school board trustees. Now, what can you do? Well, there is things that we can do. You see, you heard them say, this is for your consideration. You heard them say, we take a vote on it on March 6th. This is not a done deal. And the way you express yourself has everything to do with your success or your failure in this. Again, I'm going to say, we have to close some schools. There's no way around it. It's just our reality. Which schools we close, which programs we keep, which programs we don't keep, is what can change. Asking questions why Rainwater, who has a very low enrollment, we're not putting LEAP there, or that wasn't considered to be closed. I don't want any of these schools closed. Personally, I've lived here my whole life, and I love Carrollton, I love this school district, and I don't want to see any of these schools closed, but I know we have to. So please, I encourage you all to get involved, go to these meetings and speak your voice, but do it in a way where you know that everyone has to make sacrifices here, and we do have to close some schools. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you get involved, and let's see how this plays out.